Welcome back to my channel. I'm Kat Saves and I'm on a mission to help you shop smarter and save money. So welcome back to my series Budget Food Finds. We are on episode 3 already. If you've not seen episode 1 and 2, go and watch those first. Episode 1 is about cupboard essentials and episode 2 is fresh produce hacks. So the focus of this episode is basically how to eat high protein foods on a budget without breaking the bank. And a high protein diet is basically really good for weight management, muscle growth, and your overall health. So let's just get straight into it. And first off, we are going to be talking about the importance of protein. Protein is basically essential for growth, repair, and maintenance of body tissues, including muscles, skin, and your organs. It's really good for your digestion and also your metabolism. Overall, protein is literally vital for your overall health and growth and functioning of the body. So the recommended daily intake of protein is actually only 50 grams for the average adult. This doesn't seem like that much, but if you are doing a lot of intense exercise and you do a lot of intense exercise regularly, then you are going to need a lot more protein than this. And that's basically for your muscle maintenance and repair. So incorporating high protein into your diet doesn't have to be that expensive, especially for those on a tight budget. So I'm going to go through a selection of affordable high protein foods. We are not just talking about meat in this episode. There are so many other foods out there that are high in protein, and a lot of them are vegetarian as well. Also going to discuss the best places to buy them at the best prices, and also some extra money saving tips to do with buying protein as well. Where to buy high protein foods. So let's talk about supermarkets. Now we all know that Aldi and Lidl are literally known for their low prices. You can get some really good offers on meat and tinned things in Aldi and Lidl. If you ever see that red shelf label in Aldi, it's something that's on offer currently, and I often see them on meat products. And they also seem to do bigger packets of meat compared to other supermarkets. However, when it comes to meat, there can be a huge difference in quality depending on where you get it from. Some people do say that the cheap chicken in Aldi is quite watery, so that is definitely something to keep in mind because you will lose a lot of the actual weight when you're cooking it. So it's just something to be aware of, that cheap isn't always the best option or the best value for money. And other supermarkets like Tesco and Sainsbury's also do Aldi and Lidl price match across tons of products, including the meat and tinned sections. They also do sell some protein powders and protein bars, but I would personally look for other options like nut bars because they are generally cheaper and they are still packed with protein, and they are also vegetarian and a natural source of protein as well. And you could also look in Iceland and farm foods for kind of frozen meat. They often do a lot of bulk purchases, bulk deals on like frozen meat products. You could also have a look in discount stores like Home Bargains and B&M. They do a lot of cheap tinned items, multi-packs of tins like beans and lentils, which of course are high protein vegetarian options. Basically anything in a tin you can get really cheap in discount stores like this. It's also really good to look in places like Poundland, especially if you're looking for protein bars. Poundland do the cheapest protein bars, so it is definitely worth just having a look in there if you haven't already. You could also look into local markets like farmers markets. They often have locally sourced eggs, poultry, and seasonal produce. Prices can be a lot cheaper than supermarkets, especially for bulk purchases, and you can guarantee that you are getting the freshest items if you're going to a local farmer's market. It's also a really good idea to have a look at the ethnic supermarkets, the Asian supermarkets. If you weren't already aware, you can get some very, very cheap options from here. You can get a lot of bulk deals on tofu and beans. It's like when you go down the world foods aisle in a supermarket, a lot of the things are often cheaper than the rest of the supermarket. So why not just try going to an Asian supermarket if you haven't before and just have a look at the prices and see what they're like compared to the normal supermarkets. Normal British supermarkets, I mean. Also have a look at your online options. So we're talking about places like Amazon. Obviously you can get a lot of bulk items on Amazon, bulk protein powders and snacks. Also consider subscribing to Amazon Prime for regular deliveries. Protein World and Bulk Powders are also really good online stores for things like protein powder, and you can often get really good bulk discount deals on these websites as well. And I also just want to mention Muscle Food have an amazing mega saver meat hamper for £65 at the moment. This is where you'd obviously have to freeze most of it, but as long as you're organized and you plan your meals, and if you have a big enough freezer, bulk buying meat like this can be a great idea. This is such an incredible deal. This amount of meat is going to last you such a long time. So let's just talk about a few affordable high protein foods. Canned and dried beans. So here we are talking about kidney beans, chickpeas, lentils, black beans. There are literally so many and they are all so high in protein. The price can range from like 20p a tin to £1 depending on where you buy them from. And obviously if it's something that is branded or if it's an own brand item, the price is going to be drastically different there as well. It is also a great idea to buy tinned and dried foods in bulk if you use them regularly because they last such a long time. They can literally stay in your cupboard for months, if not years. Definitely have a look at the use by date, but sometimes it is like years in the future. And I talk a lot about this in episode 1 of this series where we talk about cupboard essentials, because tinned beans and things like that are such a cupboard essential. It is a great idea to buy them in bulk and just keep them, but definitely keep in mind that it is something that you are going to use regularly. If you use chopped tomatoes in multiple meals a week, it is a great idea to buy chopped tomatoes regularly. But if you don't use them, then just buying one tin is going to be more cost effective for you personally. And the best and cheapest place that you can buy tinned and dried items, it's going to be Aldi and Lidl. They do have the cheapest single tins, but most supermarkets do have them really cheap as well. And let's be honest, how different can a tin of kidney beans really be? Eggs are also a great source of protein. You can get about 6 grams of protein in one large egg, and I have recently seen a 6-pack of eggs for only 99p in Aldi. I do think that was an offer and it's not always that price, but it's definitely worth checking. They typically do average about £1.30 to £1.50 for a 6-pack in supermarkets, but definitely check farmers markets and just farms in general because you can get eggs for a lot cheaper than any of the supermarkets. And it is also good to just consider free range versus caged eggs, as the caged ones are going to be cheaper, but it depends on your own moral compass whether you actually want to buy them or not. So that is just something to consider when looking at the cheapest eggs. Greek yogurt is another great source of vegetarian protein. I use Greek yogurt every single day. I mix it into my overnight oats. I also like to have a yogurt bowl, yogurt, honey, granola, fruit. It is a great breakfast idea. You can also mix Greek yogurt into smoothies, or you can use it as a base for dressings. Greek yogurt is about 9 or 10 grams of protein per 100 grams, and you can get tubs for around £2 in supermarkets. You can also consider Greek style yogurt. It has very slight differences in the way that it is processed, but there is nothing wrong with Greek style yogurt and it is a lot cheaper. So it is definitely one to look at if you are looking at buying Greek yogurt. Have a look at Greek style yogurt and just maybe compare, do a little bit of research and compare, because Greek style yogurt is typically a lot cheaper. When it comes to meat, chicken and turkey are typically the cheapest meat options, especially compared to red meat. And if you opt for thighs or drumsticks instead of chicken breast, it is definitely going to be a lot cheaper as well. Obviously you can buy this in any supermarket, but it also might be a good idea to look at your local butchers, because this is where you're going to get it the freshest, and you might also get it cheaper than supermarkets. So definitely look around and shop around for meat. And you can also consider online delivery services like Muscle Food, like I mentioned before, for buying meat in bulk. Tofu and tempeh are more amazing vegetarian protein sources, and these can range from like £1.50 to £3, honestly depending on the brand, depending where you buy it from. You can buy this from any supermarkets. It might be a great idea to look in the Asian supermarkets for things like this. And these are really easy to cook into anything that you would basically put chicken in. You can use tofu instead. Stir fries or curries or soups are really good options. And I'm just going to quickly talk about protein powders as well. So you can get these from My Protein, bulk powders. Optimum Nutrition is an absolute favorite of mine, and you can buy Optimum Nutrition in supermarkets, which I absolutely love. Sainsbury's have the one that I like the most. It is the vanilla ice cream flavor. I absolutely love it, and I always buy it from Sainsbury's when it's on a nectar price. But generally, protein powders will range from about £20 to £40 for a kilogram, and it does obviously depend on the brand, depends where you buy it from. So definitely shop around. But if you do buy an unflavored version, this gives you a lot more versatility in cooking, whereas a flavored version, you might not be able to put in as many things. But if you do make protein shakes from your protein powder, it is a really great idea to also make it with milk instead of water, because this adds a little bit more protein and also extra calories as well. So here are a few extra money saving tips when it comes to buying protein on a budget. Meal planning and batch cooking. So create a weekly meal plan and do this every single week, and make sure this is centered around the high protein foods. So you choose the protein first and then build off of that. For example, you can make a big pot of chili. We make chili all the time, and you just have to use beef mince or turkey mince, add some beans in there, spices, rice, and you can portion this out and freeze it for later. This is a great bulk meal. As long as the meat hasn't already been previously frozen, as you can only freeze and defrost it once, or you might get very sick. Always use loyalty cards and have a look for coupons. So make sure you keep a lookout for deals if you have the loyalty card for any of the supermarkets. It is also a great idea to look in the reduced section, because you might find something you can eat that day or freeze for later at a heavily reduced price. And if you want to look for supermarket coupons, you can check sites like Voucher Codes or MoneySavingExpert.com are really good at updating their website on current deals, and you might be able to find something on a protein product that you already wanted to buy. So I really hope you enjoyed this episode today. Please let me know in the comments if you have any hacks or tips on how to get high protein in your diet on a budget. Make sure you have watched episode 1 and 2, and next week will be episode 4. I can't believe we're on episode 4 already, where we will be talking about smart snacking. So basically how to snack relatively healthily on a budget, and some really good snack ideas as well. So please do leave me a comment, like this video, and subscribe for more. Make sure you hit the notification bell to get notified when the next episode goes up.